Hi everyone. I want to talk today about information, the power of information for our families. It breaks my heart every time I see a parent that comes with the referrals and they don't know honestly sometimes what even therapy is or what type of therapy the child is being referred to. So that point we do have to fix it as professionals. We have to do better. We have to do better. The parents are extremely anxious and extremely nervous, are overwhelmed, are frustrated, and they do not know what to do. And it is our priority, it should be our priority, honestly, to clear the air, to clear the waters, to clear as many concerns as possible for that parent. Not only to be, okay, give me the paperwork, we'll help you. We'll help you to do what? We'll help you doing what? We'll help you learning what? Because at that point, we're only thinking about the child, which is fantastic because we are in this profession to assist the kiddos. But we cannot forget that the kids go back home, regardless if they spend with us 3 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes, or 30 hours a week. They have to go back home. So we have to provide the families the necessary information, the necessary tools for them to be able to better cope, for them to better understand, for them to have a better and healthy dynamic with their kids. We have to understand when parents receive a diagnosis of the child for the first time, for example, in the spectrum, the perfect picture that we create as parents for the future of our child, it gets a little bit broken. It gets destroyed for a certain to a certain extent, because all the what ifs, all the fears, all of everything that could happen wrong comes up to the surface. And then our desire, for example, as a parent, for my child to be a doctor. Oh well, now my child will not be able to be a doctor because my child was diagnosed with autism. Oh, but I wanted my child to be the best swimmer in the world. Now my child can't be that because my child is in the spectrum. Yes and no and maybes. We can only see what we have right now in front of us. So we have to provide that information to the parents. And honestly, I always tell my parents, because I truly believe so, every child has a lot of potential. Every child is different, regardless if they are in the spectrum or not. Every child is different with their unique strengths and their unique weaknesses and their unique personalities. And our goal as parents and our goal as therapists should be for that child to function and to be as independent as possible within their own limitations. What does that mean? Some parents come to us saying, I want my child to talk. Yes, we all wish our kids will verbally communicate, but we also have to teach our parents, and we also have to inform our parents that yes, we will work on your goal because you are the parent. You know what's best for your child, but let me educate you. We want our kiddos to be able to communicate. Now, how that looks for every single child may be different. Your child might be able to verbally communicate, yes, to learn how to verbally communicate. Or your child might use sign language, or your child might use images, or your child may use technology, an iPad, etc., with images that he clicks on them, and assistive technology device will verbalize what the child needs. It really depends on the child. Now, does that mean that your child will stop being your child because he or she got a diagnosis? No. And this is one thing that we have to understand and have empathy from our parents. Again, having a diagnosis is hard for the kid, but it's not as hard as it is for the parents, and it's not as hard for the family. And we also have to take into consideration the cultural background. We also have to take into consideration the family dynamics, because sometimes as therapists we try to say, well, you should do this for your kid to be able to progress. But guess what? That does not fit in the puzzle of their dynamic. That does not fit in the puzzle of the routine. That does not fit in the process of how they communicate to each other. And if it does not fit, it will not be used. And if it's not used, it will not be generalized. And guess what? then you reach a stop, then you reach a wall. Because if it's not easy to fit in our lives, we will not do it. We will probably not do it. Same thing with modifications. We want our kids to be changed completely to fit into our picture. But we also have to teach our parents to change that picture for our kids to be able to fit in there. What do I mean by that? For example, the room might have too many toys, or the room may be painted in bright colors. That might overwhelm the child. That might overwhelm the child at an extent that he or she will not want to spend time in that room. So things like that are modifications that may be done. We also have to provide the parents the opportunity to express their frustrations, to express their goals, to express their concerns, and to work with them. Our therapeutic goal should be also the parent's goal, because the progress of the child is also the progress of the family. Like I said before, we have to provide better resources, because sometimes we're so focused on the progress of the child on its own that we forget about the environment. We forget about those individuals that are the support system of that child, that are the ones that will generalize the treatments, that are the ones that are day by day with that child, that are the ones in charge, honestly, of that child's life and well-being. So we have to provide better resources as a community, as therapists, as professionals, because parents are overwhelmed. Parents' mental health, it's important. Now, having a child, a neurotypical child, it is already overwhelming. It is already puts a stress in the family. It's already provides certain differences in routine than an individual without kids. You already have in your head doctor's appointments, school appointments, the food, the diapers, this and that, all of those things that you have to take consideration. Even going to the park. Going to the park is not, just get dressed and go to the park. It's get dressed, get the diaper bag, or get the snacks, or get the water bottle for the child, or get a second set of clothes. Now we're adding a second layer with a diagnosis. Now we're adding, you may have to change that type of clothing. You may want to change the type of snacks that you're providing to your child. Now we're trying to configure a new image. Now we're trying to change the dynamics. We're trying to change the information that is provided to the parents, and the parents' dynamic and their families. Because we also have to make sure that we are providing the parents or the child's primary caregivers enough tools to continue loving and accepting their child and advocating for their child. Because now the school system will provide them with different assistance for the child, right? Now the therapist comes and says something for the child. Now the doctor comes and says something for the child. But that family also may have extended family members that will tell you different things depending on their cultural background, such as, no worries, he will grow out of it. Or no worries, he's just like the uncle. It happens. It does happen. It doesn't mean that the child is not like the uncle. It doesn't mean that the child is doing something just because it's a child. That's something else that we have to understand. Not because our kids get a diagnosis, they stop being kids. And that is something that we have to communicate to the parents. That's something that we have to provide, again, the necessary resources. I think we need more group resources and group support, honestly, for parents with kids that have some type of diagnosis, and how to cope with it and how to deal with it. Because now it's not only working or staying at home, a stay-home parent. Now it's driving the child to the different therapists. Now it's also doing something else. Now it's changing the diet if needed be. Now it's changing the schedule, the sleeping routine, everything else changing. including again that perfect image that us as parents, everyone as parents, we build when we know that when we have a baby. So we have to reconstruct that image. How will that image look? And we also have to allow our children to be children and to enjoy their childhood, regardless if they have a diagnosis or not. But these things cannot be given. That sometimes these things are harder for parents with neurodivergent kids, because they fear the stigma, because they fear people pointing at their kids, because they fear people pointing at their kids and looking at them weird, and they fear that meltdown at Walmart. They fear the meltdown or the fight in the park. And we have to provide the necessary tools, because if the parents are able to understand the whys, the reasons behind the roots of the behavior, what's going on, why your child is being overwhelmed, why your child is avoiding, why your child is this and that, they will improve the dynamics, they will improve the relationship with their child, and furthermore, they will assist with the progress of the child. Please let me know if this video was helpful, and take care. Let's do better.